Hello everyone, G&A Reviews here with our picks for the top 10 most underrated servants in FGO. But first, a big thanks to Sloan for working with us on this video, and if you enjoy FGO content, make sure to check out our channel, G&A Reviews, for more top 10s, analysis, guides, and spotlights. Now, onto the list.
Number 10, Cleo. Coming in at number 10, we have Cleopatra. She may not be the most underrated servant ever, but she is often overlooked in favor of Jack, King Hassan, and recently Shuten. However, Cleo is a very impressive servant in her own right. She has the almighty imperial privilege to give her a potential huge boost to damage and defense, a surefire way to spam her NP in Golden Rule, and heavy survivability and protection of the goddess. Cleo may not pack the big guns of King Hassan and Jack, or the unrivaled utility of Shuten, but she is your best all-around choice for a good mix of damage, heavy defense, and reliability.
With CCC fast approaching, Passionlip may get lost among the scramble for Kiara and Melt, but for those of you who do end up with this cutie, fear not, because she is more than just a consolation prize. Much like Anne and Mary, Passionlip is a gimmicky servant that relies on low HP to deal more damage, but unlike them, she has the tools to make it work consistently. Thanks to a very strong defensive buff and taunt combo, she can tank strong enemy attacks and even some noble phantasms, while her signature skill, Trash and Crash, will bolster her defense and damage even further. Her AoE Noble Phantasm also packs a powerful heal, making her much more self-sufficient and capable of sticking around in the fight for a long period of time, even at low HP. And it's absolutely perfect for disposing of mixed cavalry enemy mobs. Together, this makes Passionlip a strong choice for not only farming, but dishing out some big damage in more challenging fights as well.
Number 8, Dion. In a game that emphasizes damage like FGO, it's easy to overlook the soul tank servants, and Dion is probably the biggest victim of this. Dion doesn't pack any damage whatsoever, or even any buffs for allies, but what they do have is a skill set made for absorbing copious amounts of damage. With evade, near complete debuff immunity, and an unrivaled 3-turn taunt on a short cooldown, Dion can literally handle almost anything the enemy can throw at you. Whether you need someone to protect your glass cannon for a few turns, or you need to stall out a raid boss for just a bit longer, there is no one better than Dion.
Sticking with our theme of defense, we have Marie at number 7. Much like Daeon, she is one of the best tanks in the game, but she also has an added element of support, making her a double threat. As a tank, her credentials are unmatched. She has an even stronger version of protection from arrows in Beautiful Princess, not only providing her invincibility for 3 hits, but healing her as well. The heal is coupled with her strong heal from Grace of God and another heal on her Noble Phantasm, giving her a grand total of 3 different sources of healing, and a 3-hit damage immunity. Aside from her tankiness though, she supports the team with a rare team-wide heal and debuff removal on her Noble Phantasm, making her excellent for challenge quests. She also has a near guaranteed stun on males when combining her charm with her Grace of God skill. There are few things more useful than a healer that is hard to kill, and that is Marie's bread and butter.
Number 6, Coup Prototype. Now I'm not saying he's the best Coup, but Coup Prototype doesn't need to live up to his Fate Stay Night counterpart to be big time. Coup Prototype is one of the best crit lancers around, and especially useful if you are free to play since he's easy to obtain. He has a decently strong crit buff on a short cooldown and rune spell, ensuring he will almost always have a crit buff active, and Beast Slayer post strengthening quest gives him a huge buff to Star Absorb, so he never has to worry about missing out on crit stars. If you're free to play, he is absolutely one of the best units you can use, since it is very easy to build an effective crit team around him thanks to his consistency and all-around good skill set. He doesn't even have to compromise on defense, since his evade does a good job keeping him alive most of the time. So if crit teams interest you and you don't have those fancy schmancy gold lancers, Coup Prototype wants you to know it's alright. He's there for you.
At 5, we have Tesla, a very odd case as most people will agree Tesla is a strong servant, yet he somehow always manages to be forgotten in the sea of OP servants that is the 5-star archers. Next to Gil, Tesla is easily the second best AoE archer, and much like Gil, he is capable of dealing extreme damage with his Noble Phantasm because it has a bonus against the majority of servants. Tesla's power shouldn't be overlooked, but there are even a few areas where he surpasses Gil. Namely, he's tankier thanks to his guts, and he's able to pierce invincibility. He also has a whole 50% NP charge steroid that makes him one of the best when it comes to farming or boss rushes. Tesla is often called the poor man's Gil, but that is a serious disservice to his actual abilities, and depending on what you need, you may even find that this mad scientist is more dependable than the Babylonian pretty boy.
Number 4, Caesar. Here's a hot take. Caesar is the best resource saver. You heard me, bitch. Well, maybe not in terms of damage, but for what he does, he is grossly underrated. Caesar is actually one of the best non-gold supports in the game, and worth bringing to almost any crit team. His skill set is surprisingly versatile. He provides a great charisma buff and a good tactics buff to the whole party, which can greatly bolster MP damage and overall non-MP damage for the party. This makes him an especially good budget support for servants who lack their own low cooldown attack buffs. But more importantly, his third skill, Incitement. It grants an ally a good crit damage buff along with a huge buff to star drop rate on a very low cooldown. This is fantastic support for any crit servant, not only empowering their damage, but also making them much more self-sufficient. His NP also produces a good chunk of crit stars, and can be linked into quick brave chains to further bolster his crit support utility. Whether it's Akita or Coup prototype, Caesar can be a very powerful and reliable support for your quick crit servants. So stop ignoring him just because he's fat.
Saber Shiki is one of the most aesthetically beautiful servants in the game, but did you also know she is one of the best tanks and farmers as well? Shiki has a number of strong points going for her. For one thing, her passives are actually incredible, with a 6% buff to Arts, Buster, and Quick Card effectiveness. Basically, she has Territory Creation, Riding, and Madness Enhancement all rolled into one passive. That Arts buff in particular is great because it helps her charge her Noble Phantasm easily. And that's perfect because, much like Nidocris, Saber Shiki is an elite farmer because of her ability to inflict instant death. She can dispose of most minor enemy mobs effortlessly, regardless of their class. And on top of that, she has an ungodly amount of HP with a 5000 HP heal on a 4-turn cooldown. She also has debuff removal for the whole party, just like Marie, on her Noble Phantasm, giving her some challenge quest applications. All these together make Saber Shiki an excellent choice for clearing your daily EXP or door farming, as well as for stalling or being the main damage dealer on any arts team. And once again, never underestimate the power of a party-wide debuff removal. It comes in handy greatly in the late game.
Numero 2, Anne Bonny and Mary Reed. Being a crit-based rider is one of the best combinations in the game. This is because riders naturally have incredible star weight, and thus crit very frequently. And Anne and Mary are one of the few servants that appeal to this niche. Their entire skill set is based around crits, whether it's producing stars, absorbing them, or improving crit damage. They also have a secondary gimmick wherein the lower their HP, the more damage their NP deals. You can see where this is going. Between their high damage at low HP and a gigantic 100% crit damage buff, Anne and Mary can absolutely nuke an enemy, easily dealing over 1 million damage in some instances. They do require setup and some RNG to really use effectively, but the trade-off is more than worth it in some cases. They are overshadowed much by more consistent riders like Kintoki, but their damage should not be underestimated. And for as strong as they are hardly ever considered seriously in crit or quick teams. Of course, breaking bars are a thing, and they are a gamble to begin with, but being able to deal hundreds of thousands, if not millions of damage in a turn is never not a good thing. And especially if you are lacking a Scotty of your own, these two cuties are your best option for dealing nuclear levels of damage on a tight budget.
And while we're on the subject of Scotty, let's talk about the servant that she overshadows the most, Osakabehime. In my opinion, the most overlooked and maligned servant is the neat princess herself. While clearly not as strong a support as Scotty, Osakabehime is nonetheless a fantastic support who offers unique buffs that are rare in certain teams. For example, a major issue with Scotty is her lack of healing, which hurts her supportability in longer fights. Overall, quick teams in general have very little access to healers. Osakabehime is one of the best healers you can get for a quick team. She also provides a gigantic 40% defense down and buff removal, it's pretty invaluable for tougher battles when enemies tend to stack buffs together on top of other buffs. And finally, the buff to Quick and Buster on her Noble Phantasm synergizes very well with many servants because Quick Buster decks are highly common. This lets her slide in perfectly into either Quick or Buster teams, giving her a greater range of versatility. Overall, while she isn't Scotty or Merlin, she is still very strong support that works as a complement to both of them, and in many teams can provide the healing and buff removal that is lacking.
And that is our list. Please let us know in the comments who else you consider to be underrated. And again, big thanks to Sloan for collaborating with us on this video. Thank you so much. Make sure to subscribe to her channel for some more awesome anime goodness. And leave a like on this video as well. And hopefully we'll see you all in our next video. Until then, bye!